In race one, an excellent performance, says this is my retirement year, no more after 2025, which would be a shame. She's been a brilliant athlete her whole career and would be, or is enjoying being part of Grand Slam. Sian Salmon, decent draw for her in 7 years. She was 6th in the hurdle event. Just need to judge this right, the athletes. I think Sydney will certainly be able to do that. Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, done this so many times, such a great exponent over all the sprints, never mind with there's hurdles in the way. Rochelle Clayton, 32-year-old Jamaican, has run a flat 400 already this year, in a fairly swift 52.3 thereabouts, not too far off that personal best you can see in the caption. Adrianette Knight, her teammate, similarly indoors for her though, 52.8. Normally, you run quicker outdoors than indoors. So this is Peters of the Netherlands, a big part of the Dutch very successful 4x4 and mixed 4x4 squad that does so well at Olympics and Worlds. And then Cassandra Tate of the USA on the inside. Just might find the others moving away from her here, particularly I think with Peters in the lane 3. Just got held a little bit longer by the starter there, but they're away and gone. McLaughlin-Levrone already making ground, and we've just had a pull-up from Rochelle Clayton, who's pulled up in the first 100 meters, maybe trying to hang on to the American, who knows. Going very quickly, Cassandra Tate, right on the inside, has started exceptionally quickly through the first 200 meters, but it's McLaughlin-Levrone out in lane 6, smoothly making their way around the top end. Cassandra Tate, eyed on the inside, has run an excellent first 300, but is she going to pay for that as they come into the wind in the home straight? Sydney out on her own as we expected it to be, then it's going to be a real scrap for the minor places behind her. Tate is just starting to tread water in the home straight there, but it's Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone who's going to come through to make it 2 wins in the women's long hurdles. It's 50.32. Knight just took 2nd place. It was tough out there. The wind was never going to make that easy, but the victory was never really in doubt. It was just a case of how quick and by how far. Well, the answer was almost 2 seconds, which in the 400 meters is a long, long way. It has to be said, though, that Knight has run her season's best, and Dalila Muhammad in the 52-second mark. So there's our winner. There's our slam winner, our final slam winner of the first Grand Slam track. As we said, if you're going to run that quick for 400 hurdles, of course you can run quick on the flat.
Yeah, being able to run 48 seconds in the flat 4 as a 4 hurdler is unheard of. She ran 22 seconds into a headwind in the 200 last season. So speed-wise, she's not even comparable to some of these women out here. So I think she may even surprise us later on in the year and say, look, I'm going to go to the World Championships to run the 4.
Or maybe the 800.
I don't know about that.
I would love to see her run an 800 or 2, but I don't know if she wants to.
But I mean, really, just going through the motions here and just securing the money, you know, it's an easy 400,000 for her if she goes through all 4 and dominates the way she's doing. But if she wants to really test herself and test some of the other competitors and show what she can do in other events, she's gonna jump in that long sprints and go against some of those other women in that 4 and that deuce.
Well, MJ enjoyed it. You may hear the party's already started here in the stadium. There was a big win that Cassandra Tate went through the first 300 meters. She must have only been about 4 or 5 meters behind her, but look where she finished in the end.
On April 6, 2025, the city of Kingston, Jamaica witnessed another unforgettable performance from one of the most dominant athletes of her generation. Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone stepped onto the track at the Grand Slam track meet and delivered a commanding victory in the women's 400 meters, reminding the athletics world that her brilliance is not limited to the hurdles. Even though she is widely recognized as the undisputed queen of the 400-meter hurdles, this race once again demonstrated her incredible ability to compete at the highest level in the flat 400 meters as well. Running in front of an energetic Jamaican crowd and under windy conditions that made fast times difficult, McLaughlin-Levrone executed a race that combined patience, control, and explosive finishing speed. From the moment the gun fired, she appeared calm and composed, settling into her rhythm while allowing the race to develop naturally around her. Unlike many sprinters who attacked the first half too aggressively, McLaughlin-Levrone showed the kind of race intelligence that has become one of her trademarks. As the athletes approached the backstretch, the field remained tightly packed, with several experienced competitors trying to establish early control. Among them was Dalilah Muhammad, a legendary figure in the 400-meter hurdles and one of the most respected athletes in the sport. Muhammad, a former Olympic champion and world champion, entered the race with strong form after finishing second in her preliminary heat. This season carries special significance for her, as she has already announced that 2025 will be her final year in professional athletics, turning the campaign into a farewell tour that has drawn enormous attention from fans. The presence of Muhammad and other accomplished runners ensured that the race would be far from routine. The lineup represented a mixture of experience, championship pedigree, and emerging talent, creating an environment where every mistake could be punished. Yet as the race unfolded, it became increasingly clear that McLaughlin-Levrone was operating on a different level. Coming off the final curve, she began to separate from the field with the kind of smooth acceleration that has defined her career. Her stride remained relaxed and technically flawless, even as fatigue typically begins to overwhelm most athletes in the closing stages of the 400 meters. While the others fought to maintain their form, McLaughlin-Levrone looked almost effortless, gliding down the home stretch with complete control. She crossed the finish line in 50.32 seconds, a time made even more impressive considering the challenging wind conditions throughout the race. The performance secured her second victory of the Grand Slam Track Series and strengthened her position in the race for the overall title. More importantly, it reinforced a growing narrative in athletics. Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone is not just a specialist in one event, but a truly versatile sprint powerhouse capable of dominating multiple disciplines. What made the performance particularly striking was the contrast between her calm execution and the pressure surrounding the race. Competing in Jamaica, a nation famous for producing some of the greatest sprinters in history, always brings an intense atmosphere. The crowd's energy, the expectations, and the presence of world-class opponents created the kind of stage where only the most mentally strong athletes can thrive. But McLaughlin-Levrone has repeatedly shown that pressure only elevates her performances. Once again, she turned a highly competitive race into a demonstration of control, precision, and superiority. By the time she crossed the line, the result felt inevitable. Another victory was secured, another statement was made, and the Grand Slam title remained firmly within her reach. For Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, moments like these continue to redefine what is possible in modern sprinting.